Two.
Hey you guys, it's your girl Josh coming back to you from Real Takes. Good morning or good afternoon, I'm sorry. Happy Sunday, you guys. Today, again, we're doing another movie review on a movie titled Red Sparrow. I hope you guys had a chance to get out to the movie theaters. I know we're still enjoying Black Panther, but there are a couple of movies that have come out this weekend, of course, besides Red Sparrow, Death Wish. So if you had a chance, hopefully you did. Now, if you saw Red Sparrow, prior to my review, comment below, let me know what you guys think. So with that said, let's just go ahead and just jump right into it. This movie is directed by Francis Lawrence. Now, the thing I can say, in starring Jennifer Lawrence and also Joel Edgerton is the main leads. Now, for this particular director, he's actually worked with Jennifer Lawrence before. He actually worked with her on the Hunger Games trilogy, so they have that definitely in common. So they have a good working relationship, which was nice because you can kind of see that felt like she was in good hands with this particular movie. This being more of a Russian spy thriller type of movie. I will say I really enjoyed the movie. It was about 2 hours and 20 minutes. I will say, first and foremost, in regards to the actual character of Jennifer Lawrence, she did a great job. A lot of people probably want to pick on her accent. I thought for a Russian accent, she did very well. You know, she's a Kentucky girl. She did what she could with the Russian accent she was doing, and didn't feel any faults from her doing that part. Now, when you talk about the actual, this movie is actually based off of a novel, the same title. Now, this is based off of an actual person who actually used to work as a spy, male, eventually became a writer, and of course wrote this actual novel. Now, for her, she plays the character of a Russian ballerina who ends up having a freak accident. And now, and speaking of ballerina, when I watched the movie, I will admit, when the scenes came up with her being in her actual gown in order to perform, you know, in regards to a costume as a ballerina dancer, I wasn't sure it was her, but come to find out, she actually trained to do that portion of that in the movie. I kept thinking it was another person's face, CGI. She actually trained for about 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours a day for about 4 months with a Hollywood ballet trainer named Kirk Robin. He trained her to get her prepped and ready. So when you see her, it really is her, because I know a lot of people wanted to kind of, is that really her? And it was. So moving on from that, a particular freak accident happens in the midst of her performing, and it kind of causes her no longer to be able to dance. She has to have surgery. When you see that particular scene, it is very graphic, and it just lets you know she can no longer continue to actually be a ballerina. So her uncle, his name, let me get his name. His name is Vana Orgava. He actually is played by Matthias Schoenaerts. He actually is the one that gives her another way to be able to make money and also care for her mother, because in the movie, at the beginning of the movie, you'll notice that her mother is sick and she's working as a ballerina. They have her actually honed in a nice little apartment, and they take care of her mother's bills, her medical bills, because she's not able to get around. She needs certain care when she's away doing her dance training, so she has somebody who comes and sits in with her. So when this freak accident happens, it causes her to possibly lose her home and lose the medical benefits that helps her mother. So he gives her an offer. Honestly, she couldn't refuse. She goes to meet with somebody who's an upper class politician, and in the midst of it, ends up being involved in a particular situation where she sees something she should not see. And from there, he says, you can go train this place and become a Red Sparrow, otherwise they're going to have to get rid of her. She doesn't want to do it, but then she goes. Now, when she gets there, she's greeted by a woman who's called the Matron, played by Charlotte Rampling. She's a very known actress, very, very well-known actress. She basically sets her up with her, a lot of other girls and other boys. The way they teach at this place of school, and she hinted to this when she met with her uncle, you basically take me to a whore school. They're basically having it where she has to have a way of being, very seductive. She's going to pay some sort of Russian agent, being able to use her seductive wiles, very psychological, mind games, if you will. And from there, they put them in certain situations of, of course, learn how to hone guns, of course, learning how to, break locks, do this and all. But when it comes to the mind mechanics, that's the one where they know the women, out of all of the men and the women in that actual class, will be as the most seductive to getting what they want. Make them break down the walls of, say, the person that they're trying to, get an upper hand to get the information they need to get to their higher intelligence, officers. And At first she's not iffy about doing what she has to do, but certain situations within the training leaves her to know that she has no choice. If she doesn't do it, they're going to report back to her uncle, who works with those higher up, politicians. Seeing that she's not, really willing to do this, they're going to yank her out of the school and just dispose of her. So eventually she kind of gets past the situation and does what she needs to do. There are some scenes that are very graphic, and I will say Jennifer Lawrence said this in a couple of interviews, that she did feel more liberated and free because there are some very interesting scenes where she is nude, and you will see when you see the movie. So just case in point, this is of course an adult, it is R, but if people are bringing kids, just be mindful. You will see nudity from both genders, male and female. I'm just putting that out there. So moving on, they show a part where she is given an assignment to go to certain area where she has to befriend a person, and he's played by Joel Edgerton. His character's name is Nate Nash. He's a CIA agent, and from there, that's when she sets up. She tries to get used to his patterns, what he does for relaxation. He likes to go swimming, so she signs up. She taunts him. She knows he likes blondes. They take many pictures with him with other women, so this is kind of her way of using this to kind of get close enough to him that he'll engage her, and she can form that bond, and then contact is established. From there is a scene where she's swimming, and the way I mean with the mind games, the certain bathing suits showing more extra skin, whatever, and all that to entice, whatever, all these type of things are done throughout her getting to know him until you finally wants to know more about her. And see, when you're dealing with somebody who's already an agent, they're going to flesh out certain things. So of course, with her trying to get used to him, he's also trying to figure how she's out. And of course, he takes her, ID at the, swimming place, and tries to find out things. And she already knows he probably took it because he wants to know more about her. And he finds out about some of her past. He learns that she has an uncle who's a part of the politicians, over in Russia, whatever. And they're like, okay, I have a certain person that I have to reach out to. And they're trying to get one up on me because they're trying to figure out who is his contact, when he was in Russia. So all these things are culminating for her to get close. And in the midst of it, she's living in a place that they set her up with another female who's an agent as well, Russian agent. And things kind of take a turn because they're watching her, they're watching what she's doing, and she needs to stay on board. They're like, don't get involved, keep the emotions out of it. There is another actor who's within this movie. His name is Jeremy Irons. He plays General Kornowski, and he not very pleased at the fact that Vanya used his niece to go over there and do the bidding that they need done. But he says, she's good at what she is, she's good at what she does, she's going to be perfect. If the case maybe and she's not, he will take care of it personally himself. So she has the stress of proving her country that she can do the job, and also her family being her uncle. So certain things happen where she comes across some other information with the other agent she's living with, and she uses that to her leverage. So in case things don't go the way she wants, she'll have this to fall back. Now overall, I can say the storyline happens, I'll just kind of not finish up the end. I don't want to spoil too much. It doesn't show so much fight scenes. You do see some graphic scenes where she gets into it, where she's almost, assaulted, and she takes it upon herself, and she's able to defend herself. You see other scenes where, of course, sexual contact, with, say, agent, Nate Nash, played by Joel Edgerton right there. And then there are other scenes where there are people she has a report to because they have to give a report to her bosses, and he tries to take advantage because he likes women. He likes all the new recruits they send him. So if they get along with him, then he'll, report back. So she has to deal with that. So all these other little things that are happening that she has to deal with amongst handling her actual point of being there for her point of contact. Overall, I will say you had the beauty, you had some brutality, not too much bite to say that it was a lot of action within the movie per se. It is really more of the mind thing that's going on throughout the movie, the seductive part of the movie, and that's all great and good, whichever. She does play that part very well. But I wanted to see a little bit more action. I wish it was in there. I love the way, they played her down. She really had the visual down of how to deal with her actual way of conveying herself. Didn't show a lot of emotion. They made that very abundantly clear throughout the movie. Don't give any emotion with her and all, then that means she'll be taken advantage of. So that was one thing I actually say that they had her do throughout this movie. There is one time she is, very emotional because she had a little soft side for Joel's character Nate in the movie, but not so much that he was aware of it, because some certain scenes where he was being attacked with her and all that, or she was there to help him in a situation, he couldn't see. But in the end, I can say I did like it. I will say this, when I see these type of movies with spy movies, I will say that this reminds me of movies like, just case in point, earlier last, fall, I saw the movie Atomic Blonde, starring Shirley Theron. That was actually a good movie. Now, granted, it's a little bit of a difference in the way the plot is overall for the storyline, but she is an agent and she's working and she uses her scientific wiles. But the thing with her was you had that, mechanics with the mind also. Then you had a lot of the action because it was many scenes, and there was one particular scene was a good, very good fight sequence in the movie. Second point, when I look at this type of movie, it reminds me of other movies that have come out. They became multiple movies, like say La Femme Nikita. It was starring what's her name? I want to say Anne Paulina. She's French. And then you had other movies that were made, like Point of No Return, starring Bridget Fonda. And then when they made La Femme Nikita into a TV show early on in the '90s, starring Peter Wilson, and then they did it again, starring Maggie Q. So that's the kind of comparisons I can see from these type of movies. Just a little difference in storyline of how they end up becoming sort of agents, whichever, but the premise kind of still the same. Do what you need to do to get to the point of contact to get the information that you need, and do it at whatever discretion, at whatever you need to do to get what they need. But in the end, I'll say out of a rating out of a 10, I'll give it about a 7.5 overall. I am a fan of some of Jennifer Lawrence's movies, so I like the way her style was throughout this movie, and I like that she actually did a good job. I don't know, the way the ending was, I will say this before I move on. I can say interpreted that it's a possibility they could move this into a possible sequel. There is a chance they could do that, the way it was left open at the ending. I always say lately a lot of endings in movies are slightly lackluster for me. Not to say that you have to end it with anything, but if you leave it open the way some of these movies have done, and most recent, it does leave you to think, okay, are they going to try to do a sequel? It depends on how good it does at the theater. So we'll have to see. You guys, if you did see Red Sparrow this week, or you plan to see it maybe this week, sometime in the middle of the week, going to next week, let me know. Comment below. Let me know what you think. How do you think, if this is something you think you can see more of seductors and Jennifer Lawrence playing this particular role? Or, no, this is one time only, not your cup of tea. Nothing wrong with that as well. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Now, the first order of my movie news is talking about a remake of sorts, and this is one I actually have talked about, I would say, going to summer, fall last year, the Crow movie. This is the remake. Of course, you all know this movie was done over 20 years ago, and it was starring what's his name, Jason Lee. Now they already have it locked in that Jason Momoa will be playing this character, and now we have an actual date for Sony to actually have this movie dropped. It's going to be dropping October of 2019, and that was what I was waiting for. I had heard news that they were working on this. He's actually in the process of working on this, if I'm not mistaken. Now I do keep up with Jason Momoa on Instagram to know when he's going to other locations for his shows. He has his own TV show, and of course when he's doing movies, he's already wrapped up Aquaman, so that's out of the way, so now he can concentrate on doing the Crow movie. At first I was kind of like, but out of all the people that they had previously lined up for this movie, I think he's actually will be perfect for it. Once we see him, in his look, he already has the long hair, puts the makeup on, it'll fit, with his character. So it just is a matter of, okay, how well is it going to do? Once Aquaman comes out, that hopefully will do very well for him, that it'll keep parlaying to other movies for him. So when The Crow comes out next year, that will have everybody kind of excited talking about it. And secondly, they're already in the midst of starting production, so I wonder if they're going to show anything during Comic-Con. That would be nice if we see a little something. They might wait later to the summer because it is October of next year, so it might be too early. Let's hope they give a little tease of something if he goes to support this, but he'll probably be supporting more so Aquaman. So it's a possibility we won't see this until next year's time. So I'm jumping the gun, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, so basically, they had a little discussion with Eric Draven about this, and let me note what he says. He's like, the original, the story follows Eric Draven, a murder victim who returns from the dead seeking vengeance on those who murdered him and his fiancée with the help of a mystical bird. So if you all remember the original plot of the movie, then that's kind of just giving you a little bit of a synopsis of that. So this is a lot to see, because this movie, if I'm not mistaken, this was 93, 94. Yes, that was, wow, over 20 plus years ago. So yeah, that's going to be interesting, and that's one of the things I bring up every now and then. I'm kind of biased, and I can say I can be hypocritical at times if it depends on what movie it is that they're remaking. I have my favorites, and then some there's just should be left alone. This one, I'm gonna get behind it, probably because I am a fan of Jason Momoa's work, so I'm being a little biased there. So we'll just see how that turns out for that. So yeah, guys. So now we have the date. So it's just a matter of when they're gonna start showing sets, screen sets, or screenshots from him actually in the midst of working. Plus, who's going to play the wife? Who's going to play the overall bad guys in the movie? They have more people to cast. So once we have more information, I will bring that stuff to you guys. So with that said, moving on. The next order of business is this one came up, just dropped early this week. Now we already know that Gal Gadot will be coming back to do our girl Grace Diana back with Wonder Woman 2. Now I'm excited for that. I'm well excited. The first movie was phenomenal. She did an awesome job. All the backlash at first about her playing it, not looking the part, not this whatever and all that was pushed to the side. It did so well, and I'm so happy for her, and I'm happy for her and Patty Jenkins. Now with that said, there is talk of who will be in the movie with her, who will be considered like the villain of sorts. Now, I will note the title of this one is Kristen Wiig, who is known from SNL and also has done the movies Bridesmaids and also did the remake with the female version of Ghostbusters. She's to play Cheetah in Wonder Woman 2. Excuse me. I didn't know how I feel about that. Now, if anybody knows the comic books, whichever and all, like I said, I don't read comic books like that, but I will be changing it over the course, of this year. Overall, her appearance now going into this, I did speak with a friend of mine closely who does read, and he says, okay, when I showed him her face, he was just like, okay, maybe if the hair is cut a little shorter, I can see it, but she's going to be looking a certain way when you say the word cheetah. So let me note this. Now, Cheetah was created by William Moulton Marston and first appeared in Wonder Woman comic book number 6 back in 43. Now, there have been a number of versions of Cheetah in comics, including characters by Priscilla Rich, Deborah Domain, Barbara Ann Rivera, and Sebastian Bellateria, excuse me for saying that correctly. Cheetah has the abilities of the animal she was named after, given to her by the plant god Urkakardaga. Hope I'm saying that correctly now. So we'll have to just see. I need to see, like he said to me when I was talking to him about this, how she would look overall in case the look of Cheetah, and how she's going to become. Now, I'm assuming this will be more so going to along the lines, I don't know, in mascara, or this will be, I want to know how this is going to be predated, like what year they're going to be doing this to bring into Cheetah. So that plays a part as well. So as more information develops about this, she's in talks. It's not fully confirmed, but she's in talks, whichever. So I'm curious about that. Now I'm going to have to pull up, some pictures I didn't get a chance to look at just to kind of see the similarities, to see if this could be a good fit for her to play this. But I can see that Kirsten wants to do other things, being that she always does a lot of comedy. She does some serious roles as well. So her to come into considering going to the comic book area with DCEU, that will be something totally different, for her as well. So a lot of actors want to branch out and do other things, and comics are all the rage. Everybody wants to be a part, even of a small part, even of a walk-in. So who's to say? But yeah, I'm kind of down for it. Now, if you all recall, they were trying to know when exactly this will come out. So it's going to be a lot going on next year in 2019 as well, because this, for Wonder Woman 2, is slated to come out in November of 2019. So, like I stated, we have a lot of stuff going on this year, but a lot of stuff's coming out in 2019. It's going to be packed with a lot of stuff happening. So I'm looking forward to knowing more about this. And like I stated, as always, once I get more information about the cast, if she's been signed on, locked in for Cheetah, I will let you guys know about that as well. So moving on. Another considered reboot, if you will, is all things Men in Black. Now, our buddy Chris Hemsworth is in talks to come on to that. He has already wrapped up his part as Thor on doing Infinity Wars and also Avengers. So we'll have to see. Supposedly he is taking a break for right now. So, like I said, he's in talks. Nothing is written in stone just yet with that. I'm kind of curious because I didn't know if they were going to do a full reboot. I'd heard words that they were discussing this, and it was kind of out there. We know Will Smith's not doing. He's going to have any part of that because he's already busy. He has already did Bright. He's working on Gemini Man with Ang Lee, and then if I'm not mistaken, he's already locked in and considered doing Bad Boys 3. I'm assuming when that's finished. So I don't know what else he has on the lock. I know Bright 2 is being considered, of course, because even though they had good reviews and some bad ones and all that, a lot of people like Bright, so I know they have been talks to do Bright too, so I don't know where that falls in line. He's just a busy man. He's just all over. So with Chris Hemsworth now, he's already finished. He did 12 Strong, which came out early this year, and of course he had Thor 3 last year, Ragnarok, which was awesome, and then now we have Infinity Wars getting ready to come out in less than 2 months. I curious to see if he does consider doing it, who will be his sidekick. Now, if you all recall, Will Smith, of course, Tommy Lee Jones was in the movies with him as well. So since they're in talks at the beginning talks of this, I'm actually kind of curious to see. I don't know how I feel per se about him playing this character. Now, don't get me wrong; he has a little bit of the comics, chops to do it too. I like how he's charismatic and funny when he's doing the Thor movies too. So I can see that part, but it depends on who his sidekick's going to be too, which will help because he can't hold it all by himself. It will be fun to see if he's going to be the funny part, and they're going to bring somebody in to be a sidekick who's the serious part, which is mostly Tommy Lee Jones' character when he's with Will Smith. Will Smith was the one at home most of the comedic timing. So I'm actually excited. Did a lot of money when it came out back in the day. So if you recall, let me get those numbers right for the stats. Back when it first came out in '97, the first one made about 590 million. Then the second one came out, made about 450, and then that last one, which was MIB 3, didn't do so, but it made pretty good money. It was kind of to the point where people were like, okay, we're tired of it, because normally when they do the first one, if it does well, they'll do a second one. Then it's like, okay, kind of leave it alone, but then they just want to ride that wave and make that money, and that's all great and good. That's the movie production companies at their best. So I want to know more about this instead of him considering being talks. This just came out this week, so hopefully they're going to wait. He's taking his break. They might not be starting it, but they don't have it slated, but they do have a date. They're claiming this is supposed to come out in June of 2019. Now, that's where I'm kind of interested in seeing, okay, they must be hiking up the pace of who's going to be considered the top billing. So that means if he's in talks, that means his so-called break will not be that long. So, needless to say, we'll see how that pans out. But yes, you guys, I'm curious. I'm curious to see who will be his sidekick, and once I see that, then we can see the mashup and see if this has potential and see how people are really feeling about, am I going to go out? But that means all the special effects, everything has to be on lock, the action has to be on lock, and the storyline has to be really good. So with that said, I'll keep you guys posted once I learn a little bit more about that as well. Another reboot and another one that I'm actually really excited about is Highlander. And I remember Highlander from the show back in the day. The movie actually at first, because Christopher Lambert, that's his character. I enjoyed him when he did the first, he did 3 of the Highlanders, and then they had another one with someone else. But I remember the TV show. I enjoyed the TV show immensely. I was sad when it finally ended. I'd heard rumors a long time ago about them considering doing it, but it kind of got pushed aside, and that's all great and good. Those things do happen. I'll have to see. Now, I remember when it came out, it was in the 80s, late 80s, one of like 85, 86 when they did it. Now, they're stating they have a screenplay written up for it. I'm actually excited. They don't have a lock-in of who is playing the lead yet. I am curious. I don't have anybody that jumps out to me who I could think who could play this particular role. Because I'm thinking overall look and build plays a part as well into it. And plus, of course, they'll have to learn sword fighting and all that good stuff, whichever and all that. But if they do it, I really hope that the storyline is good, because this has the potential of doing more than just one. Because the first 2, I'll admit, were my favorites. The third one was just lackluster. Granted, it did have Mario Van Peebles in it, and he played great crazy in the movie when he did it. He was very comical at times. But he's supposed to play a good villain, but he was very little cheesy at times in the movie and all, but it was good for what it was. But I prefer the first one. The first one will always be my favorite because it was starring Christopher Lambert, and it had another one of my favorites, and I just forgot his name, Sean Connery, excuse me. So he was in it too. That will always be one of my favorite movies ever that I've always loved of all time. So yeah, so with that one, we'll have to just kind of check back and see, and I will note that because I don't have anything stating who's a part of it, but it is in talks. They do have it written up, but they're moving forward with this. The writer of that name is Ryan Condo, so we'll have to see what else they're going to put out that. Once I know who's actually on board, if they have somebody locked in, you already know how I'm going to do. I will have to go ahead and note that, and I will let you all know how that turns out. Now, speaking of not a reboot, but a sort of spin-off, we have Dwayne Johnson coming back. Him and Jason Statham playing their characters from the Fast and Furious franchise. Now, filming for this start date is going to start in September. Now, I'm actually, at first I was kind of hesitant. I'm like, okay, they said they're going to do Fast 5, Fast 8, which is already wrapped up, but they're going to consider doing Fast 9. That has been put on hold because they'd rather go ahead and do the spin-off first. Now, it's being reported the name that they're going with right now is called Hobbs and Shaw for the title of the name of the movie. A lot of, excitement, been a lot of backlash with this. If you all know, you've all seen it. I'm not the only one who knows about this. A lot of backlash for some of the cast, but mostly Tyrese Gibson making a big deal, being that thanks to him wanting to do his own little thing, kind of like he's trying to divert from being a part of the cast because he wants to do his own, thing to make, his money from that. And I can kind of see slightly his point of that, but if it's all of a franchise and it's to add on to the franchise so much more by having their own standalone movie and then coming back to the fold with the crew, then it should be a problem. They're all going to, get their due. They're all going to get their money. I see it's a win-win, but I think somebody's might not be happy because they don't have their own solo. But that's just me. But yeah, they moved past that. We'll say this: they had their discussion, him and Johnson, and they worked that out. Whichever, nobody's gonna mess with somebody's money, and I know Dwayne Johnson's all about his money and building his business and his franchise, whichever. So he just chose to move past that, and they worked that out. And of course, Fast and Furious 9 has been put on hold. So, and also, I'm not surprised because with them doing their role, and also with Vin Diesel, as I talked about him last week doing Bloodshot, he has his own work he's doing too. So he's gonna probably be doing his movie as well as Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham doing their movie as well. So in the end, I'm looking forward to them doing this. Now, granted, Johnson is busy as well. Like I said, he has a TV show on HBO. I think it's still on there, if I'm not mistaken. I think it might not be. I have to check that. But also, Jumanji just came out around December. Crimson Tide is doing very well. I know he has a sequel in the works for that one as well. Plus, he has two movies coming out this year, Skyscraper and also Rampage. So he's a busy man. So I know once those, I think he just wrapped up another movie that's coming out, but I don't know if it's coming out this year, next year, on 19. He'll be starting work on this one right after that, Hobbs. So I think this is slated for 19. It does not state, and I don't have that noted on here for the actual date for Hobbs and Shaw, but I'm looking forward to that. And then the chemistry between the two was really great. So how can you not beat that? It's going to be a massive amount of action, and that's what we all want. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now I can move past it. It is what it is. Give me a good movie, action movie. I won't think about that anymore. And speaking of, just noting one last thing they brought to the table. We already saw Black Panther. We're excited. The next one coming up is Avengers. And if anybody knows, it was slated to come out April the 4th, but now it has been moved up to May 4th, but now it's going to be moved up to April the 27th. I'm actually excited. It's just a week up. It is what it is. My thing is this, as I was talking to my boss here, he's like, well, the powers that be have made their money, so this is just more money they're going to be had because it's out a little earlier than the date it was slated for. Now, I did say Deadpool comes out May 18th, so I know that's their competition. So they want to make as much money as they can. That's how they did it. As you can see with Black Panther, even though it came out in February, but it was a month where a lot of they would think, very high, named movies will come out. It gives them all the time to make that good money, and as they are doing very well. Last weekend it was $706 million for them, so I think that's a good move on the Marvel's side to come out maybe another week earlier. Since people weren't expecting that, and that gives them all that freeway for the next couple of weeks to make good money before it comes out, of course, worldwide, and then it's just going to explode. So I'm excited to see it. I know besides that for Marvel, we have, of course, after this one, we have, the last and final one for the 10-year anniversary will be Ant-Man versus Ant-Man and Swap, so that should be actually another nice one to see. And then that'll be until the following May if they don't change that date, and then that will be the next Avengers movie. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I can't say enough about Black Panther. I know some people are still up on that high. I'm still kind of there, whichever, but I'm just excited. I look forward to getting that to add to my collection once that comes out, because it's just an awesome movie, and I hope people are still enjoying it. I wonder how you guys are feeling about it. If you've seen it, of course, if you haven't, you need to get out there and see that, support. And then also with Avengers, you all are excited to see, of course, all the other characters again, back in the fold again, working against Thanos. And speaking of Infinity War and Deadpool, I can say Josh Brolin is doing his thing, because of course him playing Thanos, and he's going to be playing Cable and Deadpool. He's a busy man. And on top of that, he has a movie that's coming out that I want to see that's separate from these, and it's Sicario 2, which I'm excited to see. So yeah, him and Johnson, they have a lot of movies. I think out of all of them this year, they're probably the only ones that have 3 movies coming out all this year. So they're doing their thing, and I'm here for it. It's a lot packed into 018, you guys. I have so much other stuff that's coming out that I'll be discussing, going forward, that it's hard to, keep up with it. I'm going to have to do a couple of double features probably soon, so one won't be enough in one weekend. So, but with that said, that is the last of my news for today, you guys. Like I said, get a chance to see Red Sparrow if you want. Definitely check it out. I think it's worth watching. Like I said, just be mindful. It is nudity. If you're going, you're adult, you're good. If not, you're straight. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Let me know what you think about Red Sparrow overall. You know, the movie. You know, how did you feel about it? What you plan to see next week? There's a couple of things coming out next week as well. As I say, I look forward to you guys always tuning in and watching me every Sunday. I greatly appreciate that. Also, let me know where you guys are, you know, watching from. I always like to know where I'm seeing some of my, you know, regular supporters and listeners and viewers. Secondly, always check in every week, you guys. We have many segments all throughout the week. We love to hear from you guys. Comment, share, support. You hit up that app for WBGR. And with that said, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you next time. Take care.